we're having. I also hope you have a nutritious snack in front of you to eat while we're speaking together. This session is going to be all about sustainable development in London and how it can make a significant contribution to Earth Day, as well as every day that we're here together on this planet. My name is Susanna Wilkes, Director here at Cross River Partnership, and over the next 45 minutes, we'll be sharing with you all sorts of exciting information, including Midtown Bid's social, economic and environmental strategy, Northbank Bid's placemaking and behaviour change initiatives, and CRP's urban greening and sustainable development case studies. So before we make a start, a few quick bits of housekeeping. We are being recorded and this will be available to view online. I know you'll be able to see there's just one person watching, but don't worry, there's definitely lots of other people with you. If you do have any difficulties seeing or hearing during this lunchtime launch, please make sure you've joined us via the Google Chrome browser. We find this one definitely works the best. You should have PowerPoint slide visuals and speaking voices throughout this session, both at the same time. If you do have any problems at all, please try logging out and rejoining. During today's lunchtime launch, we're going to be joined by a number of expert speakers from across the industry. These include Debbie Akehurst of Midtown Bid, Catherine Fleming and her colleague Alison Gregory of Northbank Bid, Fiona Cool of Cross River Partnership. We'll also be joined by CRP's Karina Mesquita, who'll be moderating the chat facility on the right of your screens. And last but by no means least, we have CRP's Rachel Aldrich leading all of our tech for the session. We all need a tech person, definitely. I know I do. So thank you, Rachel. Okay, today's agenda, we're going to cover all of these sessions, all of these topics that are on your screens. There will be a chance for you to have your pre-submitted questions answered at the end of all the presentations. We'll try our best to get through them all, but if we run out of time, we'll definitely respond to you tomorrow in the follow-up email that you'll all receive. Before we start the main presentations, we'd like to pose a question to all of you. What commitment will you make on this Earth Day 2021 to ensure that the development in London is always super sustainable? If you pop your thoughts in the chat box to the right of your screens, remembering to add your name and organisation too. Great, so I'll just tell you a tiny bit more introduction before we delve into the details of sustainable development in London. For those of you that are new to Cross River Partnership, we were formed 27 years ago to build bridges across the River Thames, including the Golden Jubilee footbridges recently showcased by the Sunday Times as great examples of women-friendly urban design. Our vision is to empower people to deliver innovative projects that support places to respond well to the challenges being thrust upon us. These are the values that CRP holds dear to everything that it does. All of the interventions that you'll hear about this afternoon are about enabling positive change, useful collaborations, and lessons on sustainable development in London to be shared between many different organisations in lots of different locations. By now, CRP is delivering London's future together with partners including local authorities, business improvement districts, landowners, strategic and other community agencies. We're committed to the value of partnership working in everything that we do, and we're particularly pleased to be joined by two of our private sector business improvement district partners as expert speakers today. In order to inspire us with Midtown Bid's cross-cutting social, economic and environmental strategy, it now gives me enormous pleasure to introduce my colleague Debbie Akehurst, the Chief Executive Officer at Midtown Bid.
Hi everybody, and thanks Susanna, and it's really great to be with you all today on Earth Day. So happy Earth Day to everybody. Just going to tell you a little bit about the background of Midtown Bid. Those of you that don't know us, I'll keep saying we're a fairly new team at the Bid, but we've been here 12 months now, so I don't think I can get away with saying we're a new team anymore. But the Bid itself has been around for a long time. It's one of the longest and well-established bids, and currently in its fourth term. And we cover the areas of Holborn, Bloomsbury, St Giles, Clerkenwell and Farringdon. And as you can see from the slide, we produce 20.5 billion of London's GVA annually. And we have a real cross-sector of businesses within the footprint. So really well known, obviously, for office occupiers, but we have some of the biggest hotels in London, the Rosewood as an example, and of course the fantastic British Museum as well, which has over 6 million visitors a year. Obviously, the past 12 months has been really, really difficult for everybody, and most of our restaurants, hotels, leisure, culture, etc., has been closed because of the pandemic. So we are fully aware it's been a really, really difficult year for everybody. And we also have quite a large residential population as well, over 14,000 people. So that's just a little bit about Midtown. We are also currently going through a rebrand. So the Bid has been known, has had lots of different iterations in terms of its name, but we felt it was time to kind of have a look at Midtown, where it's positioned geographically and demographically. So we're going through a rebrand exercise. We do have a new name. I'm not going to tell you about it today because I don't want to take away from World Earth Day, but do look out for when we do our official launch, hopefully in about 6 weeks' time. So to move on to sustainability. The Bid is currently the only bid in London that operates under the UN Sustainable Development Goals, and these were put in place well over sort of 12 months ago. There's about 17 Sustainable Development Goals, for those of you who don't know, and we've got on the screen, excuse me, here 4 of the ones that have been chosen and that we're currently operating under. But these are always up for review, and I think especially in light of the pandemic and the economy moving forward, we will be looking at other areas as well in terms of the recovery of the area and that continued support to businesses. So all of our priorities, all of our projects that we deliver in the Bid have the SDGs and also our own C strategy, as we call it, at the heart. It's very much the golden thread that runs through the organisation. And that's really to ensure that sustainability is really at the heart of what we do. And by sustainability, I'm talking not just environmental sustainability, but also social and economic as well. So those are the 3 pillars under which we operate. And as you can see there, I've put against the 4 different areas some of the projects and some of the things that we do deliver, which we will delve into in a little bit more detail as we go through. So as an example, under decent work and economic growth, as I say, I've mentioned the C strategy already, but things like our public realm and our placemaking, the work that we're doing around rough sleeping and homelessness, our COVID RISE strategy, which is our recovery, and also things like our meanwhile use programme, which we are looking at which links into the high streets. And then sustainable cities and communities. Again, these are things very much around kind of the environmental and how we implement environment within the project. So public realm, as I've already mentioned, the Holborn safety schemes, things like our Midtown Gardens, which I'm not sure if you're aware of, but we do have 6 gardens currently, rooftop gardens, which we have bees and things which we will continue with those. One of the things that we're really looking at doing is bringing greening down to eye level. We are acutely aware that actually the area is actually quite grey. So we have a greater green plan, which will be going out to tender soon. So again, have a look out for that. And that's really to see how we can implement that across the footprint. And then also responsible consumption. We did a project a little while ago, which is called Future London, which was a campaign in partnership with the Evening Standard. And that's around single-use plastic. So very much about trying to reduce the use of single-use plastics. As a little snippet for you of information, that on average, each person in London uses 175 plastic bottles a year. So, if you multiply that by London's population, you're talking about a huge amount of plastics. So again, this is something that we are continuing with to reduce the use of that plastic. So we've already talked very, very quickly about our sustainability in terms of our Greater Green Plan, bringing nature back to the streets. And also our responsible waste reduction programme. So really sort of developing that at the moment. And air quality, we have air quality monitors. We noticed a real reduction in CO2, especially during the first lockdown. But unfortunately, that's now started to climb back up again as we've seen traffic in particular moving back into the area. And we're super excited to be part of the CRP CAV4 project as well. So really looking forward to taking forward some of those elements within that project. And then partnership for the goals. Again, this is very much about us working in partnership. It's about showing leadership and influencing work across our bid membership, our stakeholders and our communities. And that's really about us working collaboratively. I'm a firm believer in that we are businesses, but we are businesses that operate within communities. So it's about actually how we can support those wider communities as well. I just wanted to also just talk a little bit about the London Recovery Programme and how the missions also align with Midtown Bid. And we were really pleased when we had a look at the London Recovery Programme that the alignment between our sustainability credentials and those missions. And this is really, as I said earlier, it's about implementing change. It's about influencing business. It's about thinking from a pan-London perspective as well. And the SDGs allow you to do that. But it also can be used at a micro and a macro level as well. So this isn't about us saying you have to deliver absolutely everything against every single target. It's about delivering what is your priorities as a business as well and as a community. Oh, just press the wrong button. And I've just outlined there some of the Recovery Board missions. So just to kind of go through where our alignment is. And a lot of this is around, so if we look at the robust safety net, New Deal for young people, good work, all of this links in with some of the projects that we are going to be delivering. That's things like we are looking at the social mobility pledge, so looking at signing that, and that again will be something that we will then push out through our membership. Things like the real living wage as well, which is really, really important. We know at the moment, London, the real living wage this year has gone up to £10.85, which is, if you look at national living wage was at £8.91. That's a lot of money for some people. Employment skills and training. So we are working very much with partners such as Islington and Camden apprenticeship programs to look at how we can support apprenticeships for young people, and also the Kickstart program as well. I've already mentioned the homeless project. So again, that's very much us working with those local partners in the area. So homeless shelters, but Camden and Islington as well, to make sure that people are being signposted and receive the help that they need. next slide, sorry, just going to whiz to the next slide. Sorry. So this again, we were one of the first businesses, I believe, actually, that signed up to the Camden Climate Change Pledge, and that is looking at net zero emissions by 2030. And as I said, you know, we work really, really closely with both Camden and Islington councils in terms of delivering what's best for the area. Air quality, again, I've already mentioned. And I think it's really important just to kind of mention that air quality internally and inside buildings is going to be equally as important, if not as important, as air quality outside. And I think especially as people begin to return to the workplace. We're also looking at things like safe walking routes. So again, that's looking at where is it actually best to walk if you commute into London, or if you live in London, actually can you walk into your workplace safely away from some of the busier roads because of carbon emissions, etc. as well. And also cycling, for those people out there that cycle. I'm not a cyclist because I'm a commuter, so it's quite a long way for me to cycle. But again, you know, working very, very closely again, as I said, with Camden and Islington councils on cycleways, cycle parking in particular, because what we don't want is cycles all over the pavement. And the other one that we're really interested in and also developing, again, I've already spoken about recycling, but also is freight consolidation as well. So ways that we can work to reduce things coming into the area, in particular by road. So if there's a way that can be implemented, again, really, really keen, and also keen to have any discussions with anybody that is actually already currently do it. So, you know, so that we can actually learn from that process, I think, as well, apart, you know, instead of us sort of starting from scratch. But I think hopefully what I've got over to you is the fact that it's really about working in partnership, and it's about us working collaboratively to deliver what we do, and that's just my final thoughts on that slide there. But I hope that gives you a little bit of a taste. I'd now like to introduce you to Catherine Fleming from Northbank Bid.
Full day for it out there. So just a little bit of background on the Northbank Bid. We went live in 2013, and we are in our second term, and we are also part of a wider South Westminster Bids collective, which spans, as you can see from the map, from Northbank, Royal Courts of Justice, right down to Victoria. But the Northbank itself goes from Trafalgar Square to the Royal Courts of Justice. So from a South Westminster Bids collective, we are one of the largest bid collectives in London. So and it's really exciting as I'm working across all areas now on delivery for placemaking and operations. Northbank is the world-class organisations from a diverse range of businesses, cultural and academic institutions. It also hosts hospitality, leisure and corporate sectors. We're fortunate to have over 100 business members and smaller enterprises as well, with the beautiful Somerset House. And we work closely with our partners and stakeholders, including Westminster City Council, GLA and TfL, and organisations like Cross River Partnership. We also work closely with other bid partners, as Debbie's just mentioned, and work really closely with Holborn, Fleet Street. And that collaboration, as she just said, is so vital for us. We need to work together as bids across London. Our work is to bring a collaborative projects across the organisations for one common goal, and to enhance the area with a collective voice and strategy to really create a welcoming, safe and thriving district. This is outlined in our strategies and vision for the area improvements, air quality focused work and placemaking. Northbank is one of London's most central districts and typically sees some of the busiest roads with traffic and congestion. And those of you who've been down the Strand will know exactly what that congestion looked like. And I think you can just see from that picture there in the corner there of how critical the next phase for us is really improving that public realm. And you'll see by the map above really that shows the air quality improvements and reduces the likelihood of accidents. And We really want to encourage active travel and the need to be done on streets and the welcoming of the safe return for cyclists and pedestrians as we start to look at recovery. Recovery for us and Westminster, public realm is fundamental, as I've said, and the environment must be sustainable as we go through into that future area. So just press the next. So for one of our transformational projects, Strand Aldrich was identified in our public realm strategy, an opportunity for us to rebalance the public realm and really improve permeability. The congested Aldrich really does have it was redesigned with more efficient two-way network, improved crossings to neighbouring areas, and the creation of a new public space surrounding the historic architecture of St Clement Danes and Somerset House. And actually that's really good that Debbie's here today, because that kind of connects us up to Holborn and the rest of the West End. So when we're looking at this project, we're actually looking at a much wider area. It's not just around Strand Aldrich. Our work with Westminster City Council and local stakeholders bring us that forward and holistic design and area management plan for a global creative and cultural quarter. And I think this scheme has really been restructured to respond to impacts of COVID on local stakeholders and create opportunities for a quick delivery, which can be led really on recovery. And that's really why Westminster have now moved to the meanwhile element of this space and have invested 22 million to move this project forward. They've actually started works, and the project's objectives have remained constant, but now has support areas of economy to enhance vibrance, productivity and creativity, improve air quality to reduce the traffic and migrate the effects of the traffic, working with partners to influence, lobby and explore opportunities for positive change. In light with the councils declaring a climate emergency, there are now opportunities to explore a reduction of the traffic and build on improved air quality since lockdown. We want to improve links for walking and cycling, providing better connections to the surrounding area and improving safety for the 14 million people who visit this lovely area. We want to improve the public realm, creating an attractive public space on the Strand and better pedestrian experience on the Aldrich. More space for people addresses the need for social distancing, and I think that's going to be critical in the early stages of this next few months. Supportive cultural education and innovation, creating opportunities to showcase the area's cultural and education talent, encouraging opportunities for collaboration and harness that creative energy. And we also want to really make sure that the better movement of traffic improve the journey times and safety for all. So we're really excited about moving this project forward, as I say, and I think working with Westminster and other partners over the coming months is going to be really vital. And again, we'll also be looking at how we work with the City Corporation and how we can complement what then happens for the Fleet Street area and the Fleet Street Partnership. Just moving on. One of our other major projects that came out of our public realm strategy that we commissioned was Villiers Street. And those that know Villiers Street, it's such a busy gateway to the Northbank and to the West End, and it has one of the heaviest pedestrian footfalls in London. It was identified within our survey and vision as an opportunity to enhance an important gateway to central London and its many visitor attractions and historic landmarks. And we're very lucky to have the beautiful embankment gardens that are just to the side of Villiers Street. And for us, it's really important that we really want to celebrate that area. Villiers Street is truly a 24-hour street welcoming workers and early start and busy nighttime economy with theatres, pubs and clubs. So very diverse. And I think we need to really celebrate that going forward. The vision is for us to create a street that is both visually inviting and pedestrian friendly. The raised curbs will be removed, creating a wider surface with reduced street clutter, and we will enhance access to the park and other areas. Street materials will be hard wearing and robust and take hustle and bustle of life, and the scheme brings to feel the greening of the adjacent and award-winning Victoria Embankment Gardens into the street. The design has been developed to achieve the healthy street criteria and design which is appropriate for the area. For us, this has been a lovely project to work on from the very beginning of the bid, and we're really, really pleased that Westminster are now investing 5 million in this project to move it forward over the coming 2 years. So also, sorry about that, just gone one back. So the next project I wanted to talk about for the public realm was Strand, Trafalgar Square and Charing Cross. We're working on proposals which will bring a new, greener, healthier and welcoming streetscape with more space for pedestrians. And really, for us, it's about those strands with the lanes, courtyards and smaller spaces. How can we recapture them and really appeal the grandeur of the Strand, which is part of the processional route with symbolic, civic and international significance. Its regeneration is timely with the Aldrich transformation. So for us, we want to make sure that it absolutely complements what happens at the Strand Aldrich end. And we want to look at urban upgrades in the City of London, West End, Covent Garden and Charing Cross. Smaller streets of the Strand are enhanced and we want to declutter and improve views to Covent Garden. Charing Cross, Trafalgar Square and area projects, we feel that this is really an opportunity for us for a new high quality arrival experience which links transportation hubs with cultural and visitor destinations. The area suffers from cluttered streetscape, poor crossings points and interrupted visitor points as well, which really we need to resolve as we take forward this project. There is opportunity to reveal a new public space at Charing Cross Forecourt, and we're also looking at creating a sense of arrival with an appropriate setting for the Eleanor Cross at a local landmark. Missing jigsaw for us, which we haven't got a slide on, is the riverfront. So we're now working to link the river with a place-making strategy, which is being progressed with Westminster City Council to rejuvenate the river area and regain the river city status. We want to improve the connection to the river lines with the illuminated river, Thames Tideway, the tunnel public space, and also really link in with the Strand Aldrich project, looking at the environment with a different character, opportunity for culture, leisure creation and outstanding city views. So moving on from that, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the actual, sorry, let me just move forward one. Behaviour change for active travel. So our work for physical infrastructure enhancements go hand in hand with behaviour change initiatives. And my colleague Alison works really closely on this. We've done a lot of work around health and wellbeing and active travel, with millions of working days lost each year through poor mental health, encouraging more people to take up travel, especially as part of this recovery, is going to be key to priority. The surveys that we've been doing across South Westminster really does show that there is going to be that nervousness, as I'm sure we're all aware, about people coming back in. So we've actually commissioned a mental health piece of work looking at that and how we can kind of really focus on the recovery. Walking and cycling helps staff manage stress and anxiety, along with the improving mental sharpness throughout the working day, whilst employers will be happier and healthier and more productive with their workforce. Air quality is really pressing concern for the bid and our businesses and the adverse impacts. The air quality we breathe has a dramatic impact on our health and well-being. Reducing the number of vehicles on our roads is going to be crucial to improving air quality, and we're hoping that the Strand Aldrich project will do that. Increasing people's awareness of clean air walking routes for both cyclists and pedestrians reduces personal exposure. And one of the projects we did actually a couple of years ago with Cross River Partnership was we worked on looking at the air quality monitoring that we have in place to identify cleaner air routes. And just by this piece of work and switching to these cleaner air routes can reduce the amount of pollution exposure by up to 47%. And I know that we've got some links on some of these pieces of work that I can share with you after. Walking, we developed a range of maps, street signs and website information, which brings out a real area's uniqueness and character and encourages people to explore by foot and bike. And as part of the recovery, we've also got these Toblerones that really kind of gives the quirkiness of the area and the celebration of those iconic buildings. Unfortunately, we went on our lockdown after we installed these, but we're just refreshing them now now that when people are returning. And cycle to work and for leisure, we have worked with expert Sustrands to support cycling with webinars, area maps and bike maintenance such as Dr. Bikes, cycle safety, security and maintenance. And we're also looking at bike to work schemes to reduce the cost of bikes for employees and giving them a saving of around 13.8%. Cycle safety, whether you're a seasoned cyclist or not, I must admit I do like to cycle, but I'm not sure I'm brave enough in London, should be a top priority before taking to the saddle. Moving on. So behaviour change and engagement, what we've done is with people actions, both large and small, can make such a difference for individuals in the community, near and far. So what we're trying to do is inspire people to alter their choices, and this can be done in many ways. Our behaviour change has focused on engagement through pop-up events, lunch and learn, business engagement and air quality pledges. We've also carried out litter picking days, greening volunteering park with bird boxes, horticultural workshops, and we've guided clean air walks through area history and insights. Making the most of the digital technology and social media, especially during the last year. And I can share our link on social media. So very conscious of time. I'm just going to move on one more slide quickly before I get stopped. So our work is going to support and introduce businesses to sustainable operation. Delivery servicing planning has been an effective way of us demonstrating to businesses that their choices can be. As part of Cross River Partnership work, we're working with Clean Air Villages, and we're offering business a free trial to cargo bike courier service from EcoFleet. A few of the benefits will be obviously reliable journeys, especially for the cycle networks, and no parking restrictions, and require little space for longer term parking. We hope to see a lot more cargo bikes in the area, and yeah, that's me really. I'd really like to thank CRP and the team there, because they've really been great to work with, and they've really supported us over the years, and we look forward to doing so much more with you. And I'll pass over to Fiona now. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you, Catherine. So I'm going to do a whistle-stop tour of urban greening and its importance in sustainable development. So what exactly is urban greening? Urban greening has been defined as public landscaping and urban forestry projects that can create mutually beneficial relationships between city dwellers and their environments. It can include greening measures such as installing trees, creating parks, installing landscape green areas as part of newly built developments, creating living walls, installing green roofs, and so on. So how does urban greening actually link in with sustainable development? Well, research has shown that urban green space has several social, environmental and economic benefits, as well as the ability to improve health and well-being for city residents. The World Health Organization states in their report, Urban Green Spaces, A Brief for Action, that green spaces and other nature-based solutions offer innovative approaches to increase the quality of urban settings, enhance local resilience and promote sustainable lifestyles, improving both the health and the well-being of urban residents. In fact, urban greening has several social, environmental and economic benefits that can help to facilitate sustainable development, something that's become even more paramount following the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. For example, urban greening can aid health and well-being by enabling stress alleviation and relaxation, physical activity, improve social interaction and community cohesiveness, and has also been linked to benefits such as improved levels of mental health, cognitive and immune function, and lower mortality rates in general. Similarly, environmental benefits include improved air and water quality, buffering of noise pollution and mitigation of impacts from extreme events. And economic benefits of greening include increased footfall and dwell time for businesses, as well as increased staff productivity and job creation. So CRP's Healthy Greening Report and Toolkit provides a summary of these benefits, as well as case study examples of greening across the capital to support businesses, landowners, business improvement districts, community groups, and any other organisation that might be considering a greening project to implement. In fact, CRP has a wealth of knowledge when it comes to urban greening, having coordinated the Greening the Bids project, which brought together business improvement districts to deliver 19 green infrastructure audits and 16 green infrastructure installations across the capital. This included initiatives such as rain gardens, green walls, and green roofs. You can find out more information on this and other initiatives on CRP's greening page, as well as a green infrastructure how-to guide and advice about the benefits and delivery of urban greening projects. However, I am now going to go through some case study examples of urban greening to highlight some of their benefits and impacts. It should be noted that some of these are discussed in more detail in CRP's Healthy Greening Report, so do take a look at this after the session if you want to find out more. So firstly, here is a picture of a parklet that has been installed by Hammersmith Bid on Overstone Road. This was funded as part of CRP's Healthy Streets Everyday programme. The parklet is situated outside the Dartmoor Castle, a local pub, helping to provide more outdoor seating space for a maximum of 24 people, therefore enabling the pub to continue trading whilst also adhering to government COVID guidelines. As well as the economic benefits for the pub, the Parklet has provided additional greening to improve the look and feel of the surrounding area and has removed 3 parking bays from the carriageway, thus having implications on local air quality. You can actually see a quote on screen from Richard Manners, the owner of the Dartmouth Castle. If you'd like to know more about Parklets, you can also look at CRP's Healthy Streets Everyday Parklet guidance, which Karina will share in the chat. This provides step-by-step support on creating your own Parklet, including the design elements to think about in order to build a truly inclusive and accessible space for all to enjoy. So moving on to the second case study. Here you can see a photo of Brixton Orchard that was planted in February 2017 by Brixton Bid. The project was to plant 35 fruit trees on an unused piece of land on Brixton Hill adjacent to the A23, one of the most polluted roads in London. The initiative aimed to raise awareness around air quality in Brixton and to add to the Brixton Town Centre greening. However, since its planting, there has also been several other benefits. For example, volunteering sessions have been held so that the local community can get involved with the maintenance and upkeep of the orchard. Additionally, there have been educational visits associated with local primary schools, as well as corporate visits, filming visits, and involvement from an NHS mental health recovery group. So, case study 3 is the Euston Green Link by Euston Town Bid. The link will provide a connection between Regent's Park and Euston Station. By encouraging people to use a greener walking route away from traffic with lower air pollution, it reduces individuals' exposure to dangerous air pollution, whilst also encouraging the use of Regent's Park and attracting footfall to Drummond Street, helping to support independent traders. As a result, benefits include raising awareness of air quality, encouraging behaviour change, providing links to green space, facilitating connections between business and residents, uplift of the local economy, as well as aesthetic improvements to the street. So our final case study is the Fitz Parklet by the Fitzrovia Partnership. This involved the transformation of a loading bay into a temporary green seating area for local residents, businesses and visitors to enjoy. The key objective for the Parklet was to enhance walkability and promote health and well-being for local residents, workers and visitors, foster community interaction and economic benefits for residents and local business, provide climate change adaptation and increased biodiversity to improve city resilience, and also improve the look and feel of the local environment. In fact, following the installation of Fitz Park, monitoring indicated that there was a 41% increase in self-reported well-being and a 22% increase in people that spent more than 15 minutes on Windmill Street. So the Fitz Park case study is particularly good as it highlights the importance of monitoring and an intervention to understand and quantify any impacts and benefits. For example, monitoring can be used to highlight changes in air quality, footfall, or other matrices, whilst also helping to allay concerns or fears that local residents and businesses might have. Similarly, it can provide the proof of concept for initiatives, helping to encourage sustainable development, inform new and future schemes, and even enable the transition from temporary solutions to permanent change. CRP's Healthy Streets CRP's Healthy Streets Everyday programme will be releasing a guidance document that discusses the benefits of monitoring interventions, such as those that we have discussed, as well as case study examples and best practice knowledge and experience gained from our own cross-project monitoring programme. So, finally, how can you get involved in urban greening if you aren't a local authority, developer, or in a position to apply urban greening at a large scale? Well, thankfully, as you have seen, urban greening projects don't need to be big. Benefits can be realised by greening outside a shop or restaurant, or even by encouraging staff or local communities to contribute to greening at their workplace or in their surrounding area. All of these steps, big or small, can act as a starting point towards reaching sustainable development. So thank you very much, everyone. I hope you found that interesting.
Brilliant. Thanks very much, Fiona. Thanks very much to Debbie and Catherine as well for extremely interesting presentations. I hope you've all found them useful. And I know that we've had a veritable torrent of questions coming up in the chat, and we also had pre-submitted questions too. So I'm going to quickly move on to invite the panel to answer specific questions. If I can reassure everyone, because I know we're not going to have time to get through all of them, that we will follow up in the email that comes out tomorrow. And we will also be circulating our contact details so that if we don't manage to answer it now, we will definitely get back to you this week. So first of all, perhaps if I can turn to you, Debbie, if you could answer in about a minute, could you tell us in terms of your opinions about businesses being genuinely and personally committed to the sustainability agenda, or if you think it's more just about image and reputation for them? And we've had a specific follow-on question in the chat about SDGs and how businesses are taking those on over and above the legislative requirement.
Yeah, certainly. Sorry. I mean, I think there is real commitment out there. Absolutely. And I mean, I've been doing this type of work for a long time, in particular around social value as well. And I've definitely seen that commitment has really grown over the years. But I think sometimes the day job does get in the way, and I think things come in left field, and some things it's quite easy to get forgotten. But I think that's why it's really critical, as I said in my presentation, that sustainability becomes really embedded into the organisation and becomes critical to delivery. You know, I spoke about the golden thread that kind of runs through it. So I think that's really important. That way it's not something that you do as a nice to do or an add-on. It becomes part of your everyday business. And I think also this isn't just about big corporates as well. It's about those smaller businesses, it's about SMEs, and it's about micro businesses who also have a part to play, and many do. And I think it would be really helpful, and what is really needed is that there's more support out there for those types of businesses who want to do maybe more, or who don't know where to start, or for example, don't have an environment team or a social value team in their businesses, and actually how other businesses that are already some way along the journey can help with that. In terms of the Sustainable Development Goals, I'm not too sure in terms of how many businesses are currently using the framework. There certainly is, businesses are, and I think they do tend to be the bigger corporates as part of their commitment to environmental and social governance, you know, through the ESG model. And it's certainly something that we're working closely with the GLA on and actually a pan-London approach to using SDGs.
Great. Thanks very much, Debbie. That's really encouraging to hear. Catherine, perhaps I could turn to you next to tell us in a minute or so to what extent you think BID members have backed initiatives focused on sustainable transport. And I know we've also had follow-up questions this afternoon in terms of the extent to which walking is being considered as part of an overall commuting and transport strategy.
Yeah, okay. So first, I think the businesses are responding really well, to be honest. And one of the initiatives we did that I spoke around was the Somerset House project, where we, you know, a lot of small businesses within there, and we looked at the waste and all of the procurement process, what was coming into Somerset House. And through that, they're now actually sourcing it in a much better way, much more reduced coming in, much more less waste coming in and less freight. So for us, that has been a really successful project. And I think a lot of the businesses in the area, for them, I think what we need to keep on doing is that communication piece for that behaviour change. My colleague spoke earlier around when we'll have given a chat around that whole the turnover of staff within the areas that we work with, and you know, this message needs to be constant. Regarding walking routes, I think for us, we've got our cycle maps, but the next phase for us with Strands actually is looking at those wider areas, looking at King's Cross, Liverpool Street, and other mainline stations, and how people can actually walk from them. It's not that far. We are so well connected. I myself walked from Liverpool Street the other day into Northbank, and it took me 5 minutes more than actually getting on the tube. And it was beautiful just to walk along the river for the end before I went into Somerset House. So a lot of work we will be doing over the coming months as part of that recovery piece, and we will be producing walking maps, like I say, from those key locations, not just for Northbank, but for the whole of South Westminster, so how we can connect as a much wider area.
Great, thank you, Catherine. We're actually running really short on time, so I was going to ask Fiona to answer a question, but we are running out of time, so we will put Fiona's observations in our follow-up email that we send to you all tomorrow. So we'll follow up on your queries in terms of antisocial behaviour and in terms of how to build in traffic impact measuring to Parklet installation schemes. What I would like to quickly point you to before we finish up is our next lunchtime launch session. The details are on your screen. You'll also be able to sign up in the chat. And I would also like to thank our speakers for their excellent contributions today. Their details are showing up on the screen if you would like to contact them individually with any queries. I would like to thank all of you for participating today and for answering and asking such thought-provoking questions. It's been an absolute pleasure to be with you all. Remember to stay safe while you're enjoying yourselves as lockdown lessons, and we look forward to seeing you all again very soon. Thank you very much.